Thank you, Senator. Dr. Baranwal, let me ask you a question. It was raised by Senator Capito some time ago when she was speaking about the potential, thank you, the potential for small modular reactors in mining industry. We have some interest in remote areas of my state in better understanding the application of micro reactors and the potential that they might be able to deliver. We're a state that we figure we have, we're on everybody's radar for oil and certainly natural gas, but we're also a significant leader when it comes to renewable energy resources, and people don't necessarily think about Alaska as potential prospect for the small or the micro reactor. But yet in many applications, I think they make a lot of sense, trying to move our small remote areas off of diesel generation. So it's not just within, say, for instance, the mining sector, but also the prospect and the possibility for our military bases and installations that are also often very remote. Can you share with the committee what you believe the greatest challenges are with regards to a market adoption of microreactors, and then also how the Office of Nuclear Energy can work with the Department of Defense in integrating the potential for micro reactors, small reactors, to meet our national security needs?
Sure. Yes. Thank you, Chairman. I am very excited about the prospect of application of microreactors to support especially remote communities, both in the Arctic type of areas as well as desert communities and military bases, regardless of the community. I think at the moment that some of the biggest challenges are not necessarily technical. They're around perception and policy. And so I think in collaboration, in working with the Nuclear Regulatory Commission around regulation, and then working with all of you as Congress to work around policy will help address some of those challenges. The perception piece, I think, is the onus is on everybody in the nuclear industry to help alleviate some of the perception issues. And with respect to your question about working with DOD, if I am confirmed, I absolutely will work with you and your staff to work with the DOD and understand what the needs are and what the relationship needs to be to ensure that we can possibly deploy microreactors for the applications that you mentioned.
I think we have such opportunity in this space, and when we look to our responsibility, our obligation to do what we can from a policy perspective to reduce emissions in this country, to move towards cleaner sources of energy, nuclear just has to be part of this discussion. And I agree with your comment about the perception and how we deal with that. I know in working with my colleague from California, Senator Feinstein, and Senator Alexander as the chairman and ranking on the Appropriations Committee for Energy and Water, and working with Senator Cantwell here as authorizers, we've got to deal with waste issues. That must be addressed, but again, I think we have such an opportunity within the nuclear space. I've introduced legislation recently that, again, I hope will help push us out with that, not only with the technologies, but with the workforce, and ensuring that the United States is a leader in this space. So I look forward to working with you in that role as well. I want to thank each of you. You have given the committee a good amount of your time this morning. I thank your families and your friends for being here to support you. That means a lot. I think you saw good participation from the committee here. We all agree that there are far more questions that we could have asked each of you. But I appreciate your commitment, Mr. Vela, to really focus on some of the workforce issues that have been raised here today. We want to make sure that within our agencies, all of our federal agencies, that that morale is good, that people are proud of where they work, that they go to work without fear of intimidation or harassment of any kind, without fear of any level of discrimination, and making sure that we have that appropriate culture built in is absolutely key and critical. And you're right, it does start at the top. So I thank you for your commitment to focus and to work on that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. McNamee, you've heard very clearly. We expect the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission to be that independent, unbiased entity, and to act in a manner that, again, you're not picking the winners and losers. You are not tipping the scales based on political perspective, but that you truly are evaluating these considerations that are so important. The issue of resilience within our electric grid, our energy sector. This is key. This is timely. This is an imperative. But again, knowing that we have a commission that is fair, impartial, and unbiased, that independent arbiter is what we need and what we expect. Dr. Baranwal, I am very impressed by the credentials that you have. You've shared with us your background, your life, your role model, which is really very important and very encouraging. And I appreciate the passion with which you approach not only this position that you've been nominated for, but to your work prior to this time.